Good morning. Hello world, my name is Sarah. I'm a mindset mastery coach, transformational hypnotherapist, and attachment style specialist. And I bring you videos mainly about attachment style, dismissive avoidant in particular, so that you can understand what happened in your relationship if you're going through a breakup and you're brokenhearted. Most likely you're ruminating, you're confused, you're devastated. I'm here to give you answers and provide clarity. So stay tuned to the end and don't forget to subscribe so that you can receive all updates because I have some exciting projects in the works for this summer. If you'd like a one-on-one with me, you can schedule a free 15-minute discovery call using the link below. So today we're talking about the dismissive avoidant and do they feel anything for you when it's over? I have a lot of videos on this subject, but this is going to touch it from some different angles in some different ways. So this question holds so much longing and curiosity and grief. Like you're going through it, you're going through your grieving process, whatever that might be, and you're wondering, does this person that I loved, maybe they made vows to you, maybe you were married, did they actually feel anything for me? Was it real? Did I make it up in my head? What are they actually feeling? And this is so valid, first of all. I just want to validate your experience and your feelings because there's a lot of people in your life who may not understand what this feels like. But I do. I've been through it and come out on the other side. So when a connection has really cut so deeply into your soul, it's hard to imagine that somebody could just move on, right? That this person could just say, oh, one of my clients, his therapist calls it the oh well breakup. Well, oh well, it's just a breakup. And I was actually told that by my husband, Sarah, people break up and get divorced every day, as if to minimize my pain to make it easier for him or easier on him. And I was not going to allow that, obviously. If you know me and you've watched my videos, you know that that's not really my style, but that's what he was hoping for. So it's just hard to imagine that the other person doesn't feel upset and doesn't feel sad. But here's likely what's happening 6 months, a year later, because a lot of you come to me and you've been in pain for quite some time, sometimes even years. So let's kind of dissect what's going on inside the mind of your ex who lost the woman or the man that felt like home, because that's really what happens. Now, if you watched my last video, you'll know that if a breakup feels like death to you, there are reasons why, psychological reasons why a breakup will feel like death to some people and not to others. Guys, I'm all about radical self-responsibility. I've had some comments. Everyone's gonna get comments and haters, right? When you're putting yourself out there on social media for the world to see. And that is what I teach and that is what I preach, is radical self-responsibility. Instead of pointing fingers and blaming the other person, we need to understand, why did I attract this dynamic and this pattern into my life? Because I can guarantee you, hi TJ, ow, no, hey, no, you need to go now. I can guarantee you that if you've met with a dismissive avoidant, if you've magnetized them or brought them into your life or just met them, because there's a lot in the dating pool, I can guarantee you that it likely wasn't the first one that you've met. Am I right? Yes, let me know below. Okay, so let's talk about it. They're feeling it, but not in the same way you do, not in the timeline that you do, and definitely they're not going to let you know that they're feeling it. So they don't feel it all at once and they don't feel it out in the open. So they're not necessarily going to grieve in front of friends or family or tell you that they miss you or that they made a mistake. They don't process emotional loss in a clean, visible way. I think that's really important to understand. So they're not gonna fall apart right after a breakup, even a divorce. What they're gonna do is they're going to feel relief. They're going to actually, their system, their nervous system will feel relief inside because it's gonna feel like suddenly there's space where before there was constriction. So we have to understand that from a neurobiological standpoint, that they're going through something that feels very differently than what you're going through. They usually will go numb, they'll detach, they'll keep themselves busy, some will start dating right away, but honestly, most avoidants are just going to avoid. They're just going to find a hobby or stay busy with work or distract themselves with, I don't know, Prime or Hulu or something. They're going to keep themselves busy so that they don't have to actually sit with the pain of the breakup and maybe even the pain that they've caused you in addition to their own pain. So over time, especially when the finality sets in, and this is usually when they feel you calling back your power, which is what I help my clients do in very tangible ways, calling back your power, this is when they're going to start really feeling the effects of the breakup. or like when a divorce is almost finalized. It will start to surface in ways that don't even necessarily look like grief or feel like grief. So they probably feel the cord and feel the connection, but in avoidant terms, it's going to show up like this. Let me give some examples. Loneliness that doesn't go away even when they're free. Like, so persistent loneliness, a restlessness, emotional flatless, like they've just flatlined, you know, like nothing excites them, nothing really upsets them, they're just sort of there, neutral. And then brief flashes of memories that you shared, of your smile, of your laugh, of the way you walked, of things that you shared together, little secrets that you had, and just a sudden ache somewhere in their body, their belly, their heart that they just can't explain. And then they may also just wonder how you're doing, but not actually reach out. Very few avoidants will actually reach out after the breakup. So he may not think, or she may not think, gosh, I miss them so much, I made a mistake, but it might be something more like something's missing in my life, and like I just need to stay busy and avoid. This feels uncomfortable, this feels empty. There's just an emptiness that they can't explain, and they don't necessarily connect the dots to the breakup. Because remember, they're not processing the breakup in a full, healthy way. They're likely unaware that they're even feeling this connection to you. It's just gonna be kind of like quietly humming beneath the surface, but again, they're not necessarily making that tangible connection. And so yeah, they might be trying to even live their life like it's over, but the absence will begin to echo louder than the silence. So in the silence, right, especially when they're alone, right, their kids are with, you know, the other parent, or work has finished, or it's late at night and they can't sleep and they're restless, they're going to replay those memories. They're going to wish they had done things differently. I can almost guarantee you that your avoidant ex will have regrets and will feel remorse, but you may never know this. And the truth is we can't get closure from somebody else anyway. One of my incredible clients who's become a friend was just sharing that the other day. And I thought it was so true. It's so valid and so powerful. When we seek closure and we seek it from something outside of us, it's not actually real closure. That's just, it's like codependency, right? We're codependent on something that is outside of us to give us the relief, but really we need to provide the relief for ourselves, and we need to be able to come full circle with that experience inside of ourselves and sit with it, no matter how uncomfortable that is or even how painful that is. We need to learn to sit with our emotions and just observe them. Watch them flow through you. God, you'll notice so many emotions just flow through your system in a given day or even a given hour. So remember that I've said in previous videos, and if you, I have playlists so you can check those out, but dismissive avoidants often believe that once they're out of a relationship, that they're gonna feel better. And they initially do. There's an initial relief that's very tangible for them, like, I don't have to cater to their needs anymore. We just were incompatible. And that's what they'll tell themselves, that they're gonna feel less burdened in the beginning and more in control. And they'll say, this was for the best. I really needed this space. I wasn't really happy. They weren't happy. I can't make them happy. I need to heal alone. These are all the things that I've had clients tell me that their exes have said to them. But that story, that faulty foundation, right? That sort of false white lie that they're telling themselves, not even a white lie, it's a lie that they're telling themselves, it begins to crack. That foundation begins to crack when you're no longer emotionally available. You're no longer reaching out. Like if you're an anxious attacher, you likely reached out to your ex and you likely were, hey, I need to ask you a question about that recipe. I did that. That was just a way for me to try to bridge the gap between us and try to create some communication. Recovering fearful avoidant here, so that's one of our tactics. We're gonna reach out, but not us. We're gonna tiptoe around the issue, not really say I miss you either, right? Because we're afraid of rejection. So, right? When they realize that there's no chance that you're actually going to return, the divorce is final, you've moved out, you've moved on, you're dating someone, you're engaged to someone, etc., etc. When they see you starting to live your life, when you're just rebuilding your life and they're no longer the center of your emotional world, they're going to feel this. We are energetic beings. Quantum science proves this, quantum physics. They're going to feel this disconnect, especially if you've done any cord cutting exercises. They're definitely going to feel this at their core. And then the newness of being free, like, oh, the exhilaration of finally being free wears off, and they realize that freedom can really be found within the container of a relationship. Like, true freedom is being able to coexist with somebody. And that's what I think. I think some people aren't meant necessarily to partner up. I think that we need community more than anything. Even over a romantic partner, we need community. We're supposed to live in community, different ages, different levels, different skills, supporting each other through this thing called life. And I'm a big proponent of that, by the way, big proponent of that. If anybody wants to build a homestead, I'm totally in. I'm in, and I will contribute. I love the idea of humanity supporting each other so that nobody actually has to do it alone, because it's not what we're supposed to be doing. TJ, I'm trying to make a video. And so now when the newness is over, let's say the divorce is final, or they really have seen you starting to move on, they find that a deeper part of them might be asking something like, did I lose the best thing that ever happened to me? Did I lose the one person that really wanted to help me and stand by my side and help me heal and was not going to actually leave? Did I actually push that person away? So they might not even admit it to anyone or even themselves. These are just things that might subconsciously be brewing for your dismissive avoidant ex. But that cord doesn't disappear just because the relationship did. And I think that's important to be said here. That cord remains even though the physical relationship is over. So they may feel the cord more intensely when they see you thriving without them, right? And I think that's a really valid point. That's where they really experience that delayed regret and delayed remorse, is not when you're suffering, because remember, that's like a burden to them. Your emotions are a burden to them. Their own emotions are a burden to them. So it's not when you're suffering, it's when they feel like you feel the relief and you've actually moved on and you're moving on with your life and moving forward and no longer, right, trying to stay in the past. That's when they start to really feel this. And when you begin to reclaim your joy and call your pieces back, call your parts back from this relationship, and your softness, if you're a woman, and your radiance or your strength, you know, I mean, we all have feminine, masculine parts, but when you just recover when you realize and remember how incredible and powerful you are, that's when it starts to really hit them. That's when they're going to likely sink into some sort of a depression without being able to name it or even again connect it to you. So if they see or sense, for instance, that you've stopped, hoping for them, like you've stopped longing for them, that you've reconnected back to yourself, this is important, and that you've built a life, that no longer really needs their shadow, right? You've built something, you're moving forward, and there's no chance of you coming back together and reconciling. They may feel a really deep, just a sharp, painful tug of the cord, and it's what we call delayed loss in this dismissive avoidant mind, or in the dismissive avoidant world, in this healing work. That delayed loss, delayed grief, and it'll finally hit them that, wow, this is really over, and I really did lose potentially the best thing that ever happened to me, or just the one person that wasn't going to walk away, that actually wanted to walk this path with me. So they may feel this but not reach out, or they may think about reaching out, but that shame of what they've done, the shame of who they truly are, because remember, they feel shame at their core, they feel defective, may prevent them from actually reaching out to you. So they feel the cord, but not in the way that you do, and not in the same timeline that you do. And it's not necessarily a warm ache of what was lost, but it's an invisible pull that they can't fully understand. And that's what I want you guys to understand, is the dismissive avoidant doesn't really understand their own feelings or reactions or responses to life. They just know that they feel overwhelmed, and that they feel like the only way that I know how to kill this overwhelm, how to make it go away, is to just separate. That's all they know. That's all they can think about. It's like you're dealing with a child in that sense. It's really like an arrested development, or an encapsulated child. The child, think about it. When the child has to make a decision, the child will freeze. When the adult has to make a decision, they might initially freeze, and then they're going to find a solution out of the problem to solve the issue. So you got to think about this in terms of a child. So whether they ever reach out to you, whether they ever feel, the loss, right? Whether they ever feel anything, it really doesn't matter, because it's not your burden to carry. Your burden is your own healing. That is your responsibility, to heal yourself, to uncover your patterns, and then to learn to create new patterns and to learn to truly have so much self-awareness that you can spot an avoidant, that you can spot the avoidance within yourself or the anxiety within yourself, that you understand your own attachment style. That's more important than understanding someone else's, right? We can diagnose someone and point fingers all day long, but the truth is that we attracted these people. We need to understand why. Why did I attract? What is my core wound is what you should be asking yourself. And if you want more help in a deep dive into your healing process, I have a group coming up. It's a live group coming up in a hybrid group where you'll be able to work with me independently one-on-one and also within the group. And then I'll have a recorded version of that for anybody who's like, I don't want to be a part of a group. I just want to learn at my own pace in the comfort of my own home. So stay tuned for that coming likely next month, late next month. And I think we'll start that group, the live group, in July. So look forward to that, guys, and I will make the announcement and I will let you know when sign up is possible. And if you'd like to get on the list, the waiting list for that, if you'd say, I definitely am interested in that, then please send me an email, hypnohealersarah@gmail.com, and I will make sure to put you on that list. And just give me your full name and we'll make sure that you get on that list so that you get notified when that course does go live. Sending you guys lots of love and support. Take good care and remember to put your healing first.